Item number 400. Sewer excavation, trenching, and backfilling. 401 Description. This section shall govern the excavation, trenching, and backfilling for sanitary sewers and pipe culverts, unless otherwise noted on the plan details and the specifications. The work shall include all necessary pumping or bailing, sheeting, drainage, the construction and removal of any required cofferdams and any incidental construction. All existing utilities shall be protected from damage during the excavation and backfilling of trenches, and if damaged, shall be replaced by the contractor at his expense. Unless otherwise shown on the plans, bid proposal, or contract documents, all excavation shall be unclassified, and shall include all materials encountered regardless of their nature or the manner in which they are removed, to include but not limited to rock, stone, sand, organic material, or whatever material is encountered. All excavations, trenching, and shoring shall conform to item number 700 trench excavation protection. Where construction is within the limits of the floodplain of a river, creek, or stream, the contractor is required to keep the floodplain clear of potential obstructions to flood flows. Potential obstructions include excavated material, waste material, stockpiled fill material, temporary roads, heavy construction equipment, etc. Under threatening weather conditions where flooding is possible, obstructions shall be immediately removed by the contractor. 402 Excavation. The contractor shall perform all excavation of every description and of whatever substances encountered, to the lines and grades shown on the plans or determined by the owner's engineer. During excavation, material suitable for backfilling shall be stockpiled in an orderly manner a sufficient distance from the banks of the trench to avoid overloading and to prevent slides or cave-ins. All excavated materials not required or suitable for backfill shall be removed and wasted as indicated on the drawings or as selected by the contractor and approved by the owner's engineer. Such grading shall be done as may be necessary to prevent surface water from flowing into trenches or other excavations, and any water accumulating therein shall be removed by pumping or by other approved methods. Sheeting and shoring shall be done as may be necessary for the protection of the work, adjoining property, and for the safety of the personnel. Unless otherwise indicated, excavation shall be by open cut, whether by hand, backhoe, ram hoe, rock saw, or whatever method necessary. Short sections of a trench may be tunneled, if in the opinion of the owner's engineer, the pipe or structure can be safely and properly installed or constructed, and backfill can be properly tamped in such tunnel sections. 1. Blasting. Where permitted and allowed by SEWER as an acceptable trenching option, blasting shall be performed in accordance with appropriate criteria established by the National Fire Protection Association 37 TAC Part 13 and all local, county, state, and federal codes and ordinances. The contractor shall be responsible for obtaining all permits at no cost to the owner. Blasting for utility excavation must be done in such a manner as to minimize the fracturing of rock beyond the required excavation. The contractor shall consider the elevation of utilities in relation to the blasting charge and the relative alignment of existing and proposed trenches. Blasting within such areas shall be accomplished only by qualified contractors who hold blasting licenses from a qualified agency such as the San Antonio Fire Department in Bexar County. Any damage to existing utilities resulting from blasting shall be repaired at the contractor's expense. Sand shall not be used for bedding for backfill in trenches that have been blasted. 2. Archaeological. Unidentified archaeological sites. If the contractor should encounter a section of an acequia, early Spanish irrigation ditch, or any other archaeological deposits during construction operations, the contractor must stop excavation immediately and contact the SEWER inspector who will call the appropriate personnel, San Antonio City Historic Preservation Officer at 210-299-8303, for an archaeological investigation as per Section 35 to 432(3) of the City Code, unidentified sites archaeological. The contractor cannot begin excavation again without written permission from the SEWER. If more than 3 days are required for investigation, not including holidays and weekends, and also the contractor cannot work on other areas, the contractor will be permitted to negotiate for additional construction time. The contractor shall submit a request in writing within 10 days after date of the first notice. If the time required for investigation does not exceed 3 days for each event, contract duration will not be extended. 3. The contractor shall provide and maintain barricades, flags, lighting, and other safety devices as required by local, state, and federal codes and ordinances and conduct work to create a minimum inconvenience to the public. Temporary suspension of work does not relieve responsibility for the above requirements. 4. The contractor shall at all times conform to all applicable regulations of Subpart P entitled Excavation, Trenching, and Shoring of OSHA Safety and Health Regulations for Construction, and all applicable state and local rules and regulations. 403. Trenching. 1. Trench sides. Walls shall be vertical and the practice of undercutting at the bottom or flaring at the top will not be permitted unless at the owner engineer's direction. In special cases where trench flaring is permitted and directed by the owner's engineer, the trench walls shall remain vertical to a depth of at least 1 foot, 1, above the top of the pipe. The bottom of the trench shall be square or slightly curved to the shape of the trenching machine cutters. Where the contractor has selected sloping and slash or benching as the means of trench excavation protection, item number 700, trench walls may be allowed that are other than vertical. Where the resulting trench width is wider than that normally required by the section of the specifications, the contractor's qualified engineer must submit engineering calculations showing that additional loadings do not result in a need for a stronger class of pipe. If the calculations show that a stronger class of pipe is required, any additional cost shall be borne by the contractor at no cost to the owner. 2. Trench bottom. For rigid pipe where suitable bedding exists, the bottom of the trenches shall be accurately graded to provide uniform bearing and support for each section of pipe on the undisturbed soil at every point along its entire length. For flexible pipe and slash or rigid pipe on unsuitable bedding, the bottom of trenches shall be accurately graded to provide uniform bearing and support for each section of pipe on the minimum subgrade filler layer as established in the bedding requirements of item 404,2. Sanitary sewer backfilling at every point along its entire length. Bell holes and depressions for joints shall be dug after the trench bottom has been graded to allow for proper sealing of pipe joints and to allow the pipe rest upon the prepared bottom for as nearly its full length as practicable. Where over-excavation occurs, the undercut trench shall be restored to grade, to the satisfaction of the field representative, by replacement of excavated material compacted to the same density as the surrounding natural ground. Whenever wet or otherwise unstable soil that is incapable of properly supporting the structure or pipe, as determined by the engineer, is encountered in the bottom of the trench, such soil shall be removed to the depth shown on the plans or determined by the engineer and the trench backfilled to the proper grade with a gravel subgrade filler as specified in item number 410, subgrade filler. Trench bottoms for sanitary sewers shall conform to the bedding requirements of item 404,2, sanitary sewer backfilling. The depth of cut indicated on cut sheets, as determined by the contractor, shall be from the offset or cut hub elevation to the invert of the pipe. The depth of cut as indicated on the cut sheet for pay purposes may be more or less than the actual excavated depth. The variation is based on the surface elevation prior to the contractor's operation and the invert of the sewer line. 3. Minimum width of trench. The minimum width of pipe trenches, measured anywhere between the bottom of the pipe and the top of the trench, shall be 12 inches, 6 inches per side, greater than the exterior diameter of the pipe, exclusive of bells. Exceptions apply at special structures, connections, and at temporary structures, such as trench supports. Minimum width shall accommodate backfill placement and testing. 4. Maximum width of trench. Except as stipulated herein or on the plans, the maximum allowable width of trench for pipelines measured anywhere in the pipe envelope, between the bottom of the pipe and 6 inches above the pipe, shall be the outside diameter, exclusive of bells or collars, plus 24 inches, 12 inches per side. Within the pipe envelope, a trench wider than the outside diameter plus 24 inches may be used but must fully meet one of these requirements. A. At the contractor's expense, he shall furnish and install pipe of the required strength to carry additional trench load. Such modifications and calculations shall be submitted in writing to the owner by the contractor's qualified engineer for approval. This requirement will not require special bedding or backfill, unless required by the contractor's qualified engineer. B. Except as provided for on the drawings, specifications, or by the advance written approval of the owner, the contractor, at his expense, shall within the pipe envelope encase the pipe in concrete from trench wall to trench wall, or encase in other pipe bedding material with written advance owner approval. In A or B, excavation wider than the stated minimum that also causes additional work of any kind, including additional pavement or removal and replacement of any surface amenity or utility, such additional work shall be at the contractor's expense. The maximum trench width above the pipe envelope will be governed by the trenching method and work requirements and limitations shown on the plans or included in these specifications. 5. Where water, silt, muck, trash, debris, or rock in ledge, boulder or coarse gravel, particle size larger than 1 3/4 inch, is encountered at the bearing level, the contractor shall, as directed by the field representative, excavate and remove such materials to a depth not less than 6 inches, 6, below the bottom of the pipe and replace with a gravel subgrade filler conforming to the requirements of item 410, subgrade filler. Trench bottoms for sanitary sewers shall conform to the bedding requirements of item 404,2a, sanitary sewer backfilling. 3. Dewatering and care of water. The contractor shall take necessary steps to prevent surface water and subsurface or groundwater from flowing into excavations and from flooding project site and surrounding area. Also, the contractor shall not allow water to accumulate in excavations or at changes detrimental to stability of subgrades and foundations. Accordingly he shall b. Provide, install, and maintain a dewatering, or surface diversion, system with components necessary to deter water from and convey water from excavations. b. Convey water removed from excavation and rainwater to collecting or run-off areas, ditches, and other diversions outside excavation limits. Do not use trench excavations as temporary drainage ditches or drainage conveyance devices. C. Dewatering devices shall be provided by the contractor with filters to prevent the removal of fines from the soil. Should the pumping system draw fines from the soil, the owner shall order immediate shutdown, and remedial measures will be the responsibility of the contractor. D. Upon completion of the dewatering work, the contractor shall remove all equipment and leave the construction area in a neat, clean, condition that is acceptable to the owner. E. The contractor shall maintain groundwater table at least 12 inches below the finished excavation subgrade. F. Dewatering performances. Performances of the dewatering system for lowering groundwater shall be measured by observation wells on piezometers installed by the contractor in conjunction with his dewatering system, and these shall be documented at least daily. The contractor shall maintain a log of these readings and submit them to the owner. No direct payment shall be made for costs associated with dewatering. All costs in connection therewith shall be included in the applicable contract price for the item to which the work pertains.